Since it's our 200th episode, Money Hacks is 200, no, it wouldn't be 200 years old, but it is our 200th episode. We are going to try and do things a little differently. The generations are going to try and figure out if we deal with money differently, if we have different hang-ups, if maybe we can help each other. So let's start with a quiz before I introduce you to everyone. Gen X is me. Sorry, I tried to fob it off. Gen Y, Gen Z, right? Some questions that I actually managed to glean from the Washington Post. Let's see if we know each other or ourselves as well as we think we do. I've considered extreme saving so I can retire early. Who am I?
Not me.
So Gen Z says no. Gen Y?
Not enough.
The answer is actually Gen Y. All right. I am frugal. A penny saved is a penny earned. Who am I?
Gen X.
X.
No, it's the
Z?
boomers.
Oh.
So, interesting stuff. Welcome to Money Hacks, a podcast series by the Business Times. I'm Howie Lim. I'm a correspondent with the Business Times. And my guests today, Dawn Che, SG Budget Babe, also a personal finance influencer, and Ge Jia Bao, who's a financial advisor and content creator. Welcome to the show. So, what you reckon? Maybe the first question should be, why do you not? A penny saved, a penny earned. Gen Y. So that be Dawn.
I think it's not enough because even if you save a penny and you earn a penny, you would still be losing out to the effects of inflation. So my take is if you really want to get to financial freedom, you need to both save and increase your earning ability.
Fair enough. And Jia Bao, how about you dealing with the transition of just starting to work?
Actually, I feel like there wasn't like a really hard transition, from this to that.
Oh, did you part-time sort of like when you were younger and that sort of thing?
I think it was more of the buffer from my TikTok account. I think it wasn't like, I was studying one time and then the next time I'm just like a working adult. But it was more of me sharing my opinions and then also learning with my audience. And then I guess when I really moved on to fully being, committed, there wasn't that much of a discrepancy, I guess.
How common is it for the younger folk to just put their income into a savings account, not think about it, not invest it, not grow it, that sort of thing? Because I've spoken to Dawn before and she'd gripe about it. You can't just leave stuff there and expect it to grow on its own.
Yes. I'm not sure we really do that, actually. I feel like to just put it aside and not think about it. I think maybe
Well, you
we
spend
put
it all? Come on. No.
I think spending it is when you don't think about it. But
Fair
when
enough.
you set it aside, you are kind of happy whenever you think about it. So I think it's not something that you just set aside and, that's out of the way. I feel like I do think about it quite a lot. It's just that I'm
Right.
really happy when I think about it. Yeah.
Would you say you think about money a lot then, Dawn?
Yeah. I would say money permeates every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
Even when you go to the cafeteria, you're deciding, should I go for that $8 cappuccino or a $5 long black? That's a money decision, right? So at almost every waking moment, money is something that we consider. I think the only people who don't think about it are when you're really rich or when you're a trust fund kid.
Okay, fair enough. There was another portion of the survey that said the generation that thinks about money the most is the why. Because you're sort of in that middle, if you will. Gen X is getting there to retirement and has thought about their money already, has grown it. Gen Z is just starting out, so maybe, I'll just, whatever I have is okay. I'll just spend whatever I have. But it is the why that thinks about money the most. Would you say that's true?
I wouldn't be surprised because I think Gen Y are in a very unique circumstance where we are the sandwich generation. We're part of that generation where the government said, stop at 2. And when you have that, the burden to care for and shoulder the medical bills and everything else that comes to taking care of aged parents is tremendous.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're also having young kids that you have to pay for. Childcare fees are not cheap. Tuition fees are not cheap. When you combine all of that together, Gen Y, I would say, is in a very unique situation where we have to feed the top and the bottom, and we don't really get much help.
It sounds like each generation really is, right, a product of its economic upbringing,
Yes.
its economic circumstances. So as you hear all of this, Jia Bao, as Gen Z, what are you thinking? Should you be thinking about money more, so to speak? Or
Gen
should
Zs
you
haven't had
not?
the kids yet, right?
Yes,
That's
we haven't
true.
had the kids and with not the sandwich generation yet. I think we do think about it quite a lot also, but more of, I guess for your generation, it's more of like responsibilities, different responsibilities, and then how do I allocate to those? I think for us, it's like we just have maybe this small amount of sum of money, not that much yet. And then what do we do with it? Should we invest? And there are a lot more options now. We didn't really have crypto last time, but now that's an option. And then a lot more opportunities are also made available to us. I think that's when we are like, okay, what should we do with this?
You've mentioned crypto. I have to jump in. I was trying to think up of a joke for today, right? And it just ended at 3 generations walk into a Bitcoin conference because Gen X would walk out. So that was the extent of the joke writing. Continue. How do you feel about Bitcoin? And it sounds, okay, here's how I feel, right? Because I am Gen X, risk averse to the max. So Bitcoin, whatever is jumping up and down, which can go from 100,000 to I don't know how much just a short year ago, I'm not going to do that. What about you, Dawn?
I have a different view because I started in crypto in 2017. That was during a period where governments were trying to ban it. They were all talking about the Black Silk Road and all the scams and the underground illegal, illicit activities that Bitcoin was used to support, right? But Jerome Powell has just acknowledged that Bitcoin is like digital gold, which lends that validation to what a lot of us in the crypto space since the early 2010s have been talking about.
Okay, if we're going to talk about digital savviness, so to speak, right? I had to learn. You are savvy, you are native. So how do you feel about
Wow, how do
things
I feel
that
about?
are, is everything virtual for you? For you, virtual real estate, virtual money, virtual artwork like
Yes.
NFTs, which I don't understand, I have to be honest.
Me. Yeah, I guess, to be honest, I feel like I should be native to it, but then I'm not that. I totally understand what's going on. So even though I'm Gen Z, I guess I'm not that. I feel like it's not grounded in something that I can see,
Okay.
I can touch. Then you know what? I'm a bit skeptical. Yes, but definitely it is something that I guess we have the means to go and try. Anyway, we talk about a longer time horizon. Anyway, it doesn't cost much. You just put in a little bit, see how it goes. So I think we are a bit more adventurous when it comes to that.
I think to add on to that, one thing that really surprised me is when I speak to my younger readers or followers at conferences who are Gen Zs, they would tell me that they invest in crypto but not stocks. And to me, that's like, wow, I always thought, for me, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Right? So that surprised me because crypto is extremely high risk and the barriers to entry for knowledge it's harder to understand crypto than it is to understand a business or a listed company. But the fact that they're in that and not on stocks, there's a lot of question marks as to why this is so.
Okay, so that is something about a different generation that makes you scratch your head. What about you, Tia Pao? Is there something that you see Gen X do, Gen Y do, that makes you scratch your head? Why? Take, for example, your parents maybe. What have they been doing that makes you scratch your head? Or what is it that they've been doing that makes you know what? I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to do that.
One thing is when it comes to what is an expense and what is an investment. Maybe take, for instance, a real concrete example. I grab a lot. So to me, it's a way of getting to places quickly. I need to be there in my best condition to talk to clients. So for me, that's an investment. If I spend money, I'm going to get some money back through maybe other means. Yeah. But then usually people think about it like, oh, you're grabbing, you're not taking MRT. Isn't that like a useless expense? Yeah, so I guess it's the way that we look at the money that we are spending. I guess it's not so much the amount, but is whether I can get that money back. I think that's one different idea or way of thinking about it.
What about you, Dawn? What have you seen, say, you've already talked about how you were surprised Gen Z was so into crypto. What about, say, the older generations or even your parents?
One thing that really surprised me watching my parents do is the fact that they would pay only the minimum sum on their credit card. And they didn't understand the repercussions of doing that because when you get your statement, you see how when at the point of paying, they just tell you minimum $50. So you would think that, oh yeah, even though I owe a $3,000 bill, I just need to pay $50 and that settles it for this month. So when I saw my mom pay off the minimum, that was like a head-scratching moment because I was like, the interest is just crazy. But to her, it was a cash flow thing. But I felt like then you shouldn't even be spending that money because you should only be putting things on credit when you know very well you can pay off at the end of the month.
Have things changed?
Well, I can only say that sometimes it's hard for us as children to convince our parents, and some parents are more reluctant to listen to people whom they've raised and brought up.
This is true. This is true. My mom still keeps money under the mattress. Can't convince her to put it anywhere except under the mattress. So that's a bad thing, right? What do you think, Gen Z, then? Jia Bao, as cost of living rises though, and it's becoming harder for everyone actually to accumulate wealth and adequately prepare for retirement.
I guess we do have the idea that, you know what, we still have a rather long time horizon. Maybe like this 5 years, we don't put it into investments. I just want to put it into my bank account. I can see it. I know that it's there.
You feel that
Yes.
retirement is too far away?
I
Needing to
guess.
think about.
I guess. And I think to us, a lot of times when you say retirement, it's
Yeah.
more of like, when it's time to retire at 65 and then I just retire. I think we do talk about FIRE a lot. Like, when can I have that freedom to just stop working and I guess even across the generations, when you were younger, retirement was probably pretty far away for you.
I can't remember.
Right. So I don't think maybe
Sorry.
it's not so much the generation, it's just like a phase of life. When we are at currently the Gen Z's age,
Yeah.
retirement is a bit far. Maybe we think of it like, when can I retire? When can I get a lump sum of money, quickly not work if I don't want to? I think that's more of what we're thinking of.
What do you think then you worry about money the most? So I worry about I might not have enough for retirement and I'm going to have to work till I can't work as in drop dead. What is it about money that you worry about, Gen Z?
I think it's more of maybe what's the immediate concerns, maybe like buying a house, BTO, buying a car.
Wedding.
I think those kind of things are a bit more relevant. Retirement is like, okay, next step. After I get all of this settled, whatever that we can do, then that's the next step.
And for Dawn, what do you worry about?
For me, it's really about, do I have enough to support my aged parents and bring my young kids up at the same time and take care of my retirement? And after all of that is done and dusted, do I have anything else left that I can do to leave a legacy behind for my kids? Because every parent, we want to give our kids the best, right? I've heard of parents who buy their kids a condo because property prices are going up. So if you can buy a private property now and hold it for them in a trust until they're old enough, that is something that I'm sure most parents would want to do out of love. But do we have the finances to support that? Because at the same time, our aged parents depend on us and their savings is not enough. Medical bills have gone up so quickly. Medical inflation is at one of the highest rising percentage around the world, especially here in Singapore. And some for that generation as well, they don't have insurance. My dad, the first thing he did when he retired was to cancel and stop all his insurance policies. I was just flabbergasted when I found out.
Any other sort of big financial mistakes you've seen the other generations make? Maybe Jia Bao, you can help us out with that one.
One thing is not knowing how much you actually have, I feel. I don't think people really stop and pause to really calculate maybe how much I need in retirement. Sometimes when it's, let's say, nearing retirement, and then after that, when you calculate, okay, how much do I need per month? And then you kind of total it up, and then you look at your own savings plus inflation, and then you're like, oh, we're a bit
Less
tight.
than I thought
Yes, less
there
than
was.
I thought. Yeah, because I think when you look at the money in the lump sum, it seems like there's a lot.
Yeah.
But then when you spread it out to like 20, 30 years in retirement, we're a bit thin. Yeah, so I think that's one of the more common concerns that I've been hearing, I guess.
Okay, I wish we had more time though, but I'm going to leave you with this, right? If there were a $10 bill and a $5 bill on the ground, which would you pick?
Why is that even a question of $10?
Jia Bao?
$10? Can I pick both?
I don't understand. Take both!
Now I know the answer. Both.
Dawn Che is SG Budget Babe. She's also a personal finance influencer. Also with us today was Ge Jia Bao, who is a financial advisor and a content creator. This has been Money Hacks by the Business Times. And if you have any feedback, you can always email us, btpodcast@sph.com.sg. Till next time, I am Howie Lim.